Broadcasting to millions from WebmasterRadio.fm's world headquarters.
WebmasterRadio.fm proudly presents the longest-running program on affiliate marketing. Welcome to Affiliate Buzz. Our hosts, James and Arlene Martell, are here to inspire, inform, and motivate you with expert insight, interviews, and information that will increase your bottom line. Advance your affiliate marketing efforts every week on Affiliate Buzz. Now, please welcome James and Arlene.
Yes, it's James Martell here, and welcome to edition number 495 of the Affiliate Buzz, where we've been keeping affiliates inspired, informed, and motivated to succeed with affiliate programs since way back in 2003. If you're joining us live here today on WebmasterRadio.fm, it's great to have you with us. If you happen to be listening to us through a podcast on your smartphone, tablet, computer, or Wi-Fi radio, a very, very special welcome to you as well. Arlene is away today. However, not to worry. I am here with Josh Stanton, founder of the Screw the 9 to 5 podcast and screwthe9to5.com. And today we are going to be talking about how to design your dream lifestyle with Josh. And we're also going to dig into how they use Cornerstone Content to build passive affiliate revenue. Now, Josh is the co-founder of Screw the 9 to 5 along with his wife, Jill, where you will find their slice of the internet and where they help entrepreneurs build more attention to their brands, make more money in their business, and get more out of their life through simple strategies, how-tos, and behind-the-scenes glimpses into the realities of building a business online. Josh has a serious love for travel, an unhealthy obsession with pugs, and has been known to indulge in rugby binge watching, and also has, if I may say, a brand new baby boy. Josh, welcome to the Affiliate Buzz.
So great to be here. That was quite the introduction, by the way.
Well, you and I had a great chat on Podcasting Mastery, my other show, and after we were done that, I just thought, I have to get you on the Buzz. Because, of course, you live in the affiliate space as well, like I do. You're also a podcaster, and you have such a great story. And I know before we got on the show today, you were telling me that when we, in fact, I said it when I figured it was about 2 weeks before you were about to have your first child. Congrats again. And then you said you're also getting tons of sleep. How in the world is that possible?
This is one of those things that I don't like telling other parents because, we hear the horror stories about not getting any sleep, and we've kind of just experienced the opposite. And as we said before, like I'm literally knocking on wood as I'm saying this, but right now we're getting 7 and 8 hours of sleep. And the way we do it is, I think we're quite fortunate because we both work from home. I'll stay up until about 1 o'clock or so with Kai, and he usually sleeps that whole time anyway, but I'll stay up and take care of him. And then Jill will take over after that. So she'll go to bed at like 6 o'clock and then wake up at 1, and then she'll she'll stay up and I'll go to bed at 1 o'clock and then sleep until 8 o'clock. So I'm getting 7 hours of sleep there. She's getting 6 hours of sleep, and then she's having a few extra hours as well during that time too. So I think that's kind of the system that we've worked out that works really well for us. And so, yeah, I mean, we're super clear beforehand. We're like, we have to get sleep because we have a business to run. And I just can't imagine running a business with no sleep. So fortunately, we've had a really good baby and we've been able to do that.
Well, and I must say too, because you have your own business and you are working at home, I guess it's not a problem for you to organize it that way. I would think, though, some of those who are, of course, working in the daytime all day, both husband and wife, that would be pretty much impossible. And I think that's probably where the sleep depravity comes in.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you. I think what's really important is we tried at the start, we tried just taking shifts. So we'd sleep for 3 hours, then wake up, then sleep, then wake up. And that we got a lot of sleep doing it that way, but we were exhausted during the day. And then we switched it up and we worked out that you're better off having 5 hours of straight sleep than you are having 8 hours of interrupted sleep, if that makes sense.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Now, I topped this the top of the show. I talked about how to design your dream lifestyle. Would you take a few minutes and share your story? You've got a very interesting brand, Screw the 9 to 5. Talk a little bit about Jill and yourself and how you began your business, and then give us a little bit of a little story on how you came up with the name as well.
So we started our business together back in 2012, and that was the year we were getting married. Actually, that's another story. Don't start a business the year you're getting married. It's extra stress. Trust me. But we started it that year, and we didn't start Screw the 9 to 5 until the following year. So what we actually started was an affiliate marketing business, and we started what we wanted. This is what we said. We said we want to have a business that gives us a kind of lifestyle that we want to have, where we're able to go and travel, live overseas, work when we want to work, blah, blah, blah. And we looked at different models, and the one we came across was affiliate marketing, because there's no fulfillment and there's no customer support. So we worked out that all we need to do is just get traffic to a website, and then we can refer that traffic onto relevant products and offerings. And the first website we started was in the skincare space. And we didn't know anything about skincare, but we just knew that people were purchasing products online related to skincare, and there were a lot of products that we could promote. So we just started blogging. I think it was within the first 3 months, we were generating like $1,000 a month or something like that. And then within 6 months, we were generating a full-time income for both of us. And then within 12 months, we were like hitting, 5 figures and beyond. So it was it was almost like, because we were getting married at the end of the year, it forced us to take a ton of action, and we were just writing content all the time. So that was the initial business we kicked off. Then on our wedding week, we got married in Costa Rica, and we were sitting out on our patio the week before we got married. And we were talking about starting a site, because we were about to move over to Thailand. We wanted to start a site where we sort of blogged about our travel and about our journeys and what it's like living this kind of lifestyle business lifestyle. And so we were sitting down, and Jill just blurts out, it's kind of like Screw the 9 to 5. And we both looked at each other. We were like, that is it. So we jumped on Namecheap, we registered the domain name, and then we got it started. And yeah, that was the initial way that we kicked off Screw the 9 to 5.
That's brilliant. The ability to work anywhere, that's something that cannot be, I think, overstated. Tell us a little bit about some of the places that you've had the opportunity to work from.
Okay, we moved to Thailand, and it was our dream actually to move to this small island in Thailand called Koh Tao. And I remember the day that we got off the ferry, and we got off and we walked onto the pier, and we would just look at each other and we were like, we did it. Like, this is where we're going to live for the rest of our lives, this tiny little island in the middle of the Gulf of Thailand. Oh. And we spent about 6 weeks there before we got a severe case of island fever and realized that living on a tiny little island in the middle of nowhere can get a little bit boring after a while. So at that point in time, we looked at other areas in Southeast Asia to go and live that maybe were had a bit more going for them. And one of those was Chiang Mai up in the north. And that was a place that we moved to. And we ended up spending about 1.5 years in Chiang Mai. So we were in Chiang Mai, then we went to the Philippines after that for a few months. Then after that, we went back up to Canada, and then we went to Mexico for a few months, and then we're back in Canada. So we've been around, that's for sure. And we've lived that lifestyle of just being able to kind of live anywhere, work from anywhere. And it was very fun for that time.
I know I've had a chance to talk to a ton of, they call themselves laptop nomads or podcasting nomads, and depending on how they're driving traffic and stuff. And I was talking with a gentleman on Podcasting Mastery who is literally traveling the USA with his new wife 4 years ago in a motorhome. And they were talking about, after they got married, where are we going to go on our honeymoon? So they decided, let's travel the USA. Let's get a motorhome. And they've managed to build an amazing business traveling the USA, building a community of other people who are traveling around the USA in motorhomes. So it's interesting to hear these these lifestyles. Now, it's also interesting to hear. So you're back in whereabouts in Canada are you? You're in Vancouver, aren't you?
Yeah, in Vancouver.
Okay, so what's kind of the plan next as far as travel? Are you kind of hunkered down? I guess with the new baby, you're not going to venture too far for a little while. But what's on the bucket list?
So the plan is we're actually moving from Vancouver back to Toronto, which is where Jill's family and whatnot is. And we want to do that because we want Kai to grow up around family. That's super important to us. But one thing I got super clear on growing up in Australia is I don't want to be around winter in North America. I do not want to be in Canada during winter. So every winter, the plan is to go somewhere else, go down south, go to Australia for a few months as well. So I think that's the kind of lifestyle we'll live, which will be like half the year or more, just more than half the year up in Toronto, and then the other time spent somewhere warm. Yeah,
Toronto's not a place you want to hang out in the winter.
No, absolutely, it definitely is not.
A lot of those who aren't familiar with Vancouver don't realize Vancouver doesn't usually get any snow, or very, very little in the winter. In many winters, we get nothing. And Toronto, on the other hand, totally different ballgame and way colder.
So much colder. So much colder.
So I think I think you got a good plan there. Now, I'm here with Josh Stanton from the ScrewThe9to5.com, and after a real quick break, I'll be asking Josh to talk about how they use Cornerstone Content to build passive affiliate revenue. We'll do that and a bunch more right after the break.
More affiliate buzz coming up after we hear from our sponsors.
The Web Marketing Association is now accepting entries for the 2018 International Web Award Competition. Web Marketing Award winners receive an image plaque, certificate of achievement, higher visibility for your company, valuable feedback from our expert judges, and links to your site from the highly ranked Web Award site. Visit www.webaward.org to nominate your company, site, or organization. Deadline for entries is May 31st, 2018. Go to www.webaward.org and sign up today.
Are you looking for the best in WordPress speed, security, and scalability? WP Engine is a digital experience platform for WordPress, powering digital experiences for large brands around the world. With easy-to-use site management tools and powerful do-it-your-way development features, WP Engine gives you the flexibility to build it your way. Improve your SEO and conversion rates with a faster site on WP Engine. Learn more on WPEngine.com.
All of your favorite WebmasterRadio.fm programs on air and on demand 24/7. Find our shows on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, and anywhere you download your podcasts. Add some podcasts to your playlist as part of a better profit margin. More refreshing talk radio on air and on demand 24/7. Only on WebmasterRadio.fm. We're everywhere.
Time now to hear some more affiliate buzz on webmasterradio.fm. Here's James and Arlene.
Arlene is away today. However, I'm here with Josh Stanton of ScrewThe9to5.com. Now, Josh, before the break, you had mentioned, I guess in your marriage year, I'm not quite recall, but you were creating a ton of content, which kind of, I think, probably leads us into this topic of what you call cornerstone content. First of all, what is cornerstone content? And then let's talk about how you use it to build passive affiliate income.
So cornerstone content is the major topics you can think about in your space. It's you creating really in-depth pieces of content that focus on those specific topics. So an example would be, let's say in the online business space, a huge topic there of interest is webinars, using webinars to sell products. And so we have a really in-depth cornerstone piece of content that people can access by going to screwthe9to5.com/webinars if you want to see what it looks like. And it basically covers everything you need to know about webinars. And the goal for it is to firstly gather a ton of traffic from Google, because we're basically hitting every single keyword term you can possibly think about related to webinars. But secondly, when people come into your website, they're going to have interest areas, right? So someone comes in, maybe they listen to a podcast, and then in the sidebar there, they'll see like a link to to our webinars post, and they want to read more about that. And so we can refer those people through that Cornerstone piece. The other reason why they're really important is because these are like the initial sort of entry points that lead off down your pipeline and allows you to sell products off the back of them. So these are topics that you can generate revenue off the back of them, basically.
I was actually interesting you brought that up because I was on your site earlier and I actually looked at that article. And when I saw the word Cornerstone Content, I was thinking, okay, let's go take a peek. And I looked through that article and then I realized it just kept going and going. I get asked a lot, how long should an article be? 600 words, 700 words, 2,000 words? And I always say, as long as it needs to be to tell the story. In your case, I grabbed a copy of the text and I went and dropped it into wordcounter.net to see how many words. 13,211 words, which is spectacular from a search point of view. And then the content itself is spectacular as well. And you mentioned ranking for all kinds of keywords. I don't know if some listeners realize, and maybe you could talk to this. An article like that can literally rank for dozens, if not hundreds, of different keyword phrases.
Yeah, exactly. And the point is, when you're creating these Cornerstone pieces, we have a process that we follow, and one of those one of the steps in the process is to go out and find any relevant keywords that we can include. That's huge. I mean, on that particular piece of content, there's probably about 150 to 200 keywords that we're looking to try and rank for over time. And it's kind of interesting. So it's 13,000 words and it's one page. What we're experimenting with now is actually breaking those down into multiple pages and having like on screwthe9to5.com/webinars, which will soon be the case. We're going to change it around. It'll be more of a table of contents type or entrance page. So people will come in and they'll check out like that page. And on that page, there'll be links out to the different chapters that we have, and there'll be separate posts. So that way it's not as overwhelming as having like an entire, 13,000 words on one particular page. And at the same time, I personally believe that people are going to spend more time on your website, which is a really good factor when it comes to helping you rank on Google too.
I noticed that you've, and you just mentioned that you've broken this down into chapters. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3 is best webinar tools. And there's a lot of subsections within each chapter. I'm still scrolling to find Chapter 4, and you talk about lead pages, all the different webinar tools. Obviously, you've got your affiliate links embedded in all of this.
Yeah. Exactly.
How else do you use this content? So currently it's on a single page. You're talking about testing, putting it into instead multiple pages. What else do you do?
So one of the things on that page, if you look in the sidebar, actually, there's a banner for Amy Porterfield's webinars that convert training. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things we like to do is, because we Screw the 9 to 5, we're quite a broad brand. We're not just like affiliatemarketing.com. We're not just focusing on affiliate marketing. We're doing lots of different things. We realize that we can't be experts at everything, but what we can do is build relationships with other experts and build strategic partnerships with them too. And so with Amy, if you go through and you register for her webinar, and if you make a purchase, if anyone makes a purchase of her product, which is webinars that convert, then that commission is tracked for us. So that's probably the best way that we're generating revenue, through that particular post, but also through the links, as you mentioned too. So those are the two ways that we're generating income from those Cornerstone pieces. And
then obviously you've talked about Google and rankings and traffic from Google. I would imagine you talk about this and direct your listeners from the Screw the 9 to 5 podcast to this article.
Yeah, exactly. So, and we try and do, I kind of mentioned it before, but we'll go on other people's podcasts, and if the concept of, or the topic of webinars comes up, or the topic of anything to do with any Cornerstone piece comes up, I'll mention that on the podcast, and then I'll probably just mention to that person, hey, if you want, I can send you a link and you can chuck it in your show notes. And that's kind of a way for you to generate backlinks as well, which again is going to help you rank too. So it's the thing I love about these Cornerstone pieces is that they're ongoing. In the world of the world of content marketing, where it's like keep making new content, it's quite refreshing to sort of think that, hey, you know what, we've got these cornerstone pieces that we can just update every year. We don't have to create new ones all the time. We can just keep making this better and better, and we can continue to keep promoting it all the time as well. So that way we don't have to try and promote new pieces of content all the time. We can just promote an existing one over and over.
I was looking at your, and with that explanation in mind, I was looking at your Ultimate Webinar registrations article as well, updated 2018. So I guess it was written probably last year, maybe year before, and you come back and revisit it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what's so key about this, is that you don't have to create too much content. You don't have to create content over and over and over when you have this kind of process in place. So with this too, it is important to create content each week for sure. I'm not going to lie, that's important, because that's you serving your audience every single week, right? You're showing up with them and you're giving them value every single week with something new. That's great. But with the cornerstone pieces of content, the thing I love about them is that we can keep promoting the same pieces over and over. And also, usually they're incredible pieces of content. And so people spend a lot of time reading them. They spend a lot of time, it's a 13,000 word article. They're going to spend a lot of time reading that, right? And Google, one of the big factors is on-site behavior as far as ranking on page one goes. And they look at things like bounce rates, and they look at things on average time on page. You can imagine what the average time on page is of a 13,000 word article, right? It's really, really high, a lot higher than a 400 word article would be. So in that sense, it's kind of adding this extra value to your website, and that's going to help any other page you have rank as well.
I was looking at and I don't mean to be creeping your website, but you have a beautiful site. I was also looking at the article, How to Create a Dangerously Effective Automated Sales Funnel. That's one that you just updated. And it's sitting at 3,873 words. So I was like, okay, well, here's one at 13,000. Here's one at 3,800. Are they all this long? And they're obviously not. You mentioned you talk about creating content every week. What's your strategy, and how often do you create these cornerstone pieces?
So we're right now sort of churning them out once a month. We put a lot of effort into it, right? So the process for it is we identify the topic. We want to make sure when we identify that topic, there's a way we can generate money off the back of it. If there's not, then we disregard that topic. So that's step number one. Step two is we go out and we just mind map. We come up with potential ideas that we could use for chapters, just like how you would write a book, basically. Once you mind map, we then put together a table of contents with all the right subheadlines for the different chapters we have, and then the subsections under those chapters too. And then we put bullet points together as well. So we haven't even started writing the content yet. We're just doing all the preparation for it. Once we're happy with all the preparation in the table of contents, we then go and do keyword research, and we list out potential keywords that we want to use in each chapter. That's really key. Once we have all that prepped and ready to go, that's when we start actually writing the content. And it's so much better doing it this way, because if you just sit and try and write a 13,000 word article on webinars without any structure to it, without a table of contents, you're going to be all over the place. So you have to really focus a lot of time prepping yourself for this. And it does take time to get them out there, but that's okay, because you're spending a lot of time creating an incredible resource that's going to be of service to a lot of people over a long period of time.
You bet. Now I'm here with Josh Stanton from the ScrewThe9to5.com, and after another real quick break, I'm going to ask Josh to tell us where we can learn more about obviously his services and a little bit more about his podcast. We'll do that right after the break.
More affiliate buzz coming up after we hear from our sponsors.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
Catholic Charities is committed to providing life's basic needs.
We thank you for bringing us all here today, letting these people understand how Catholic Charities runs and how important these people are. And we ask you to guide them, to protect them, and keep them here forever because this community needs them.
Visit www.catholiccharitiesusa.org to learn more.
St. Jude continues to advance by increasing cure rates in childhood cancer, and donors are important to us because you get the feeling that you have a team behind you. When it comes to research and advancements, there are some things that only we can do because we have the resources and we have the focus, and so if St. Jude doesn't do it, who will?
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Blog. Webmasterradio.fm. We're the talk of the town. Webmasterradio.fm. Thanks for listening. Webmasterradio.fm. We're everywhere.
Time now to hear some more affiliate buzz on webmasterradio.fm. Here's James and Arlene.
Arlene is away today. However, I'm here with Josh Stanton of screwthe9to5.com. Now, Josh, let's talk about your podcast. And it's interesting to me that we're starting to see the podcasting world basically explode online. But it's been a long time coming. And there's, I think, probably a variety of reasons for that. And I know affiliates don't often, and I see pushback a lot where I don't think there should be from affiliates, because it is a great way to develop traffic, build an audience, establish credibility. You could go on and on. But talk a little bit about why you started your show, and then tell us about your show.
I think we started our show because we really loved listening into podcasts ourselves, and we just thought it was just such an incredible medium that you could get on and actually have people plug you into their ears and listen to you for like 20, 30 minutes, right? It's an incredibly powerful way to connect with people. So we started our podcast, and it was kind of funny when we first started. It was like we just joked around a lot, if that makes sense. It was just me and Jill. We just joked back and forth, and we kind of just jammed on business ideas and blah, blah, blah. And it was quite funny that the feedback we got was that people really just loved like me and Jill and how we just connected with each other. That was like the biggest thing. And so I would say the reason why the podcast has been so important for us is that it's allowed people to get to know myself and Jill as, the founders of Screw the 9 to 5 on probably the deepest level that I could possibly imagine, other than meeting them up in person. That's the truth. So we're super open. We're super honest on the podcast. We have a lot of fun. And it's just been a great way to, connect ourselves with people and our audience.
And if I recall correctly, and I hope I'm right here, that you started your podcast, you were going well with it, then you decided to almost let it go. Is that? Yeah,
that's right.
Talk to that a little bit.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. We hit this point where we started crushing it using just Facebook ads in our business. And so we kind of said, let's not do anything else. Let's not do any content marketing or anything. Let's just focus on just running ads and we'll make heaps of money. But then over time, the cost of ads continued to go up, and we started realizing we were losing a bit of an affinity with our audience. And people started mentioning that they wanted our podcast back. And it wasn't until we hosted a meetup in Vancouver, actually, and there was about 20 or 30 people who came to that meetup. And I went around and I talked to every single person, and I asked them how they found out about our brand. And you know what? Every single one said they found out through the podcast. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
And it was at that point, we said, we need to start this podcast back up. We need to do it right now.
For those who are considering starting a show of their own, give them a little kick in the ass. I was going to say encouragement. Forget that. Give them a little boot for me. Because I keep hearing it. I'm planning on starting a show. I'm going to start a show, and so many just don't get to it. They've got this, I don't know what it is. It drives me nuts. Help me.
I would say the biggest problem is that people, when you're podcasting, you have to learn how to just be yourself. And so when Jill and I went into it, just like what I mentioned before, when we first started our podcast, we just said, let's just do it and it'll just be fun. We'll just get on and we'll just talk to each other. We'll just jam on like business side because we talk about business all day anyway. And we said, let's just pretend like we're just doing that. And so we got on and it was really easy. And we didn't even care how many people downloaded our podcast or anything. We just wanted to do it because it was going to be a ton of fun and it might be a great way to sort of come up with ideas as well. And that was how we first got started. So if you're thinking right now, you're not going to start it because, you're worried it's not going to make any money, blah, blah, blah. Maybe go into it thinking like, hey, am I going to enjoy doing this? Firstly, am I going to enjoy actually talking about topics related to my niche? And then secondly, do I have some interesting things to tell people? And if the answer to both of those is yes, then you just got to get started. Just do it.
Absolutely. I so agree. Now, just a little plug for your other episode that we did with you over at Podcasting Mastery. It's episode number 61, and you talked about how to hit the eject button on your career. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. It was a great episode.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So if those would like obviously hear a little bit more from Josh, definitely, and podcasting from his perspective, head over to podcastingmastery.com and look for episode number 61. Now, what obviously podcasts evolve over time. You use pretty much the same format today. What's your show look like now?
Yeah, our format's pretty similar to when we first got started. So one of the things that we love doing at the start is, so Jill and I, each week we rotate who has a joke about the other person. So like, if she has a joke about me, I have no idea what it is, right? So every week there's some kind of joke that we start off with about the other person. And it's kind of funny sometimes. And then what we do is we roll into the episode and we pick episodes which are based around what our audience is interested in at that time. And so we batch complete episodes for 12 weeks worth of content. But before that, we run a poll inside of our Facebook group. And we're just listing out a bunch of different topics we could potentially cover. And we allow people to vote on which ones they want to actually listen to. And that's how we decide on the topics. And then from there, it's usually like 3 lessons or like five reasons why, like just individual lessons based on actionable insights around online business and just business and lifestyle in general as well.
I know another thing, and I can see we're just coming up against the clock here, and I'll get you to share your contact information in just a moment. But another thing that I think that's maybe a little bit missed out there by those who are thinking about starting a show but haven't is the absolute volume of listeners that you can pick up. Over on Podcasting Mastery, again, I interviewed a woman named Betty, and her podcast is called Betty in the Sky with a Suitcase. And she's a flight attendant. And she interviews on the plane other flight attendants, pilots, when she's on the ground crew, and air traffic controllers, to share just little short stories about funny things that's happened to them on the airplane. And she's a riot. I mean, she's an absolute riot. She started in 2005. She does, and I've never heard of this before, she does a monthly show, just one episode a month. And she has, on average, 40,000 downloads a month. And I'm thinking, unbelievable. I mean, I don't know anybody that has a monthly show. And I thought, wow, that's incredible and funny and entertaining and just a riot. But you don't need to share any numbers with us, but just the sheer volume of people that are starting to listen to podcasts now, isn't it something?
Yeah, we've noticed it's continued to go up, which is quite fascinating because I would say a couple of years ago, I thought it reached its peak. And I don't know if you thought that, but I just had that feeling. But it seems to keep going up, which is a good lesson to kind of learn. You know, when you think something's kind of tapped out, it's usually not done yet. And that's definitely the case with podcasting. We have a weekly show. We did at one point we were doing like 2 or 3 a week, and the frequency was higher, and we were getting more downloads. But I don't know if we're actually getting more listeners, maybe just more downloads. But we get about 30,000 downloads per month on our show, so it's not a huge show by any means. But we know that everyone we're talking to is our audience, and that they're listening into us.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so do us a favor, share anything you'd like as to where people can learn more, find your podcast, find your content, and anything else you'd like to share.
So you've already mentioned screwthe9to5.com, but also if you want to check out our podcast, if you do want to become 30,001 downloads, you can go to thescrewshow.com and you can subscribe through that.
Wonderful. Well, Josh, you know what? It's been just great to catch up again. Congratulations on the new little one. It's obviously a life-changing event.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's always so much fun coming on the show with you. And yeah, I probably have to go take care of him soon. I think it's my shift.
There you go. Love to have you back. Okay, so to our affiliate friends, as usual, do keep in mind we keep all the show notes for you. So anything that Josh mentioned here that you'd like to review or maybe you missed, you'll find the show notes for this particular episode at jamesmartell.com/AB495. Final reminder that if you'd like to be alerted to new episodes each week, take a minute right now, actually about 12 seconds if you're quick, and open up an email and send a blank email to affiliate_buzz@aweber.com. You'll be alerted each week to new episodes. Josh, thank you again. And to our listeners, thanks for listening to another episode of the Affiliate Buzz.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the guests and hosts and do not necessarily reflect those of webmasterradio.fm's management or sponsors. Any rebroadcast or redistribution without authorized consent of webmasterradio.fm is prohibited.
Not on my watch, our military